All right, let's continue with a couple of things before we finish up here. Mayor Pete Buttigieg is an American politician. He's a Democrat, and he's running up in Iowa, doing pretty well there in the Democratic primary, which is up in, of course, January of next year. Who is this person? Well, he's the guy who's currently leading the field in one of the two states where the ball gets rolling to become the nominee and then potentially president. Now, it should be pointed out that very often someone wins the Iowa caucus and then it's immediately put the other way with the New Hampshire primary. So it is just a poll and just a state, and one win is not forever. But have a look here. Pete Buttigieg is apparently up by 16 points. Both Warren and Sanders are down. Biden and Warren are down. Sanders a little bit up. Klobuchar holding on for some apparent reason.
I did say...
You are a Mayor Pete man.
Well, I did say a couple of weeks ago, and you and I talked about it, I'm surprised this guy isn't doing better. And now he is doing better. But a thing that occurred to me recently about what's happening with the Democrats is, let's say, for example, you're not a Buttigieg supporter, you're a Warren supporter. She doesn't get the job. She doesn't get the nomination. Are you then likely to say, to hell with the whole thing, I'm not even going to vote, I'm going to stay home? All of that works in Trumpy's favour.
Well, and that was the Bernie thing, which was that when it came out, and Bernie Sanders stayed all the way to the end, right? He went all 50 states, even though it was well and truly gone before. He went into... his supporters were then told, fall in behind. But hang on, if you've just gone through this bruising sort of battle between Berner and Jeffries and Berner, and even though it's all for the ultimate big D...
And now you've got to support the one that you were...
After you've just gone through this sort of, you know...
Big ask.
This knife fight...
Yeah, if they can tear themselves apart on their way to finding whoever it is who's going to go up against Trump, they'll drag their sorry ass into the ring and he'll thump them.
Well, I think so. It seems to me they're not voting for the big D. They're voting for an individual.
The personalities within the...
And this is something that's, you know, constantly commented on, particularly with the left, the identity politics, the whole thing. Well, if you don't get the identity you want, are you still going to support the notion and go, oh, well, OK, the other guy was second best, but I'll vote for him or her?
Well, that was very true in the Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton. They were very divided. The Democrats were very divided. There were a lot of, you know, pro-Bernies that had nothing to do with Hillary and vice versa.
Well, also...
But his national profile is...
Not too good.
Yeah.
Well, look, and look, young guy, mayor, gay... you know, there's a few different ways into trying to understand this bloke. Considers himself to be a bit more moderate than some of the crazy that's running.
Yes.
Interestingly, Obama came out in the past few days, and isn't it amazing that literally think of the godlike stature that bloke was in when he became president and when he left the presidency, but the sort of new kooks that have taken over the left of Western politics. Look at you know, the Greens in Australia, look at Labor in the UK, look at the Democrats in the United States. The real kook that's there, that Obama's not good enough for them. Well, when you live in a system, you should always listen to somebody who's actually won before, not just once but twice. Because as we've talked about lots of times, whenever we talk about American politics, there are places all over the United States that went Obama, Obama, Trump. So there's some sort of connective tissue there. So it doesn't mean whoever he says automatically you become the nominee. But if he's saying just be careful with this stuff that plays well at university and plays well in the coasts, it's a 50-state country, and the way that it works is that, you know, you've got to win a certain amount of states in the right places. Anyway, we'll wait and see where that goes in the next little while. But also, the caucus system in Iowa means you don't just walk in and vote, I want that guy. You literally go into a room and go into all the different corners of the room. Whoever has the most then tries to literally go and convince people on the other side of the room to join them. And then after multiple back and forths, like a swingers party without the keys, whoever has the most partners ends up winning the room. Anyway.
By the way, you're talking about Obama. I mean, he didn't have a lot of experience in many ways, but he was a lot more grassroots than a lot of these people. He was, and it was a pejorative, really, that he was a community organiser, but at least he was a community organiser.
Correct.
He was out in the community.